Hey, welcome everyone. My name is JR. I am the founder and owner of Business Leaders Network, where our whole mission is to build a community of emotionally intelligent servant leaders. And today we're here with another roundtable interview where we are going to highlight some amazing entrepreneurs, share more about who they are, what they do, and how they're making an impact in the world. So, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Glad to be
Cool.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I'm
same.
gonna I'm gonna start with Mickey. And so, Mickey, why don't you share with us who you are, what you do, and what inspired you to get started?
Yeah, my name's Mickey Lyles. I'm from South Carolina. I opened my first business when I was 23 years old, so I'm right at a 30-year entrepreneur veteran. Consider myself a serial entrepreneur. That word has become very popular in today's society, but I've been using it for a long time. I've always had my hands in multiple things. Really got into being an entrepreneur just looking for freedom. And at a very young age, like I said, 23, I just didn't want people to tell me when I could take my lunch break. And it really was that simple. But over the last 30 years, have learned so much of the ins and outs about how to scale companies. And about 15 years ago, I opened a consulting company. We rebranded last year. It's now called a Measure of Growth Partners, where I help other entrepreneurs and small and medium sized businesses grow, scale, create clarity out of the chaos and all the words you would expect to hear a consulting company say. But the reality is that I have a hands-on approach where we roll our sleeves up. And that came from me hiring a consulting company with a large company that I was running, about a $21 million pest control company. Reached out, and for $35,000 they sent me three ring binders and a 4 hour Zoom call. And I was like, no, that people need real help. And so I went on a mission, and knock on wood, and thank the good Lord above, we've never not had a success story with a client. We've always earned them more money than we've cost them and helped them scale. Had some really cool, amazing exit stories. One of which would be selling a pest control company for 79 million to private equity, which was a locally independently owned company. I mean, the company was not owned. I mean, it was literally owned by one man and woman, a husband and wife team. So just excited to help other entrepreneurs accomplish their dreams and to realize that there's a life of abundance out there. Have a book coming out in April that documents sort of these nine dirt road solutions that I have worked on the last 25 years that helps with that business scaling strategy. So, yeah, that's who I am. I'm an entrepreneur. I like to help other entrepreneurs succeed, and my company is a Measure of Growth Partners.
Love that. Very cool. Peter, same question to you. What do you do, and what inspired you to get started doing what you do?
Yeah, so I do two things right now. I run a agency, sales agency for influencers and coaches. So having a lot of fun with that. That's kind of my main thing. While I was doing that, I've been doing that for 8 years, 8 figures. And so I just started my own thing recently. I left as a CEO of that company, kind of worked my way up from customer support, sales, first sales job ever, all the way up to running that company through COVID, seminar company, and other things. So we had a lot of challenges that we overcame. And then, yeah, more recently in October, I decided to start my own agency. So I've been doing that for the past few months, and that's been going really well. And then, yeah, I got really frustrated over the past 8 years with the solutions for business. So software is like you have to remember all your logins. You need all these passwords and all these reports. You need to get somebody on a spreadsheet. And I'm like, what's going on? And I'm a technical guy. I'm a video game nerd, and I'm always like playing the hard video games, trying to solve the problem and just nerd out. And like, how do you kill the dragon on extra hard? And just like, I like all the painful, things that go along with that. So I decided to tackle how to solve business software. And so, yeah, I created the past 8 years masterminded this business software where the idea is you'll just be able to talk to it and it'll just run your business for you. So currently, it's almost at that stage, and it's at the stage right now where it's still a user interface and you're still using it, but it's AI native. And we have everything from dialer video conferencing, booking links with personalized video that you can put on there, multi-tenant revenue system. So it's for somebody who wants to run a high ticket coaching business or even a medical business. It's going to be HIPAA compliant. Yeah, so that's launching in 2 months, and that's what I'm working on.
Love that. I definitely want to check it out.
Yeah.
Monica, same question for you. Tell us who you are, what you do, what inspired you to get started.
Yeah, I'm Monica Connolly, and my background is corporate healthcare. And I was asked to come into a room almost 3 years ago, knew that I did not want to stay in the healthcare world, but didn't know what else was available. Got invited into a room and saw the possibilities of entrepreneurship. I ended up getting a master life coaching certification, a trauma certification after that, launched my own coaching business, launched a podcast. So, all within the last 2 years. Um, have spoken on stages with amazing people, Trent Shelton, Renee Rodriguez, Amberly Lago. Been able to work with women. That's my passion, working with women who were where I was, which was lost. I had lost my identity. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted to do. In the process, I lost an entire person in the sense of 160 pounds in the last 2 years by healing my mindset and focusing on what I love to do, which is helping women with their health and their mindset, nervous system healing, and incorporating all of that to helping them find what they're passionate about. I launched two books in 2025, two anthologies, and my solo book actually just launched 2 days ago on Amazon. So just had that come out. Um, yeah, love doing the podcasting. Was always terrified to use my voice before. It was so bad I would shake and just was so scared to speak in front of people, and had the opportunity to be on a stage for 5 minutes, and I was like, it's only 5 minutes. I can do that. The lights are so bright you can't see anybody anyway. So did that and have just been moving full force. Success story. I have a woman that I worked with that was in a job that she didn't love, and she loved to do charcuterie and parties for kids. And in the last year, she's been able to leave that full-time job, launch her charcuterie business, launch her party business for kids, which was what she was really passionate about. So that's been my last success story.
Love that. Congratulations. Daniel, same question to you. Share more about who you are, what you do, and what inspired you to get started.
Wow, I feel so underqualified coming on this board. So thank you for allowing me to be on here. I did 25 years in the military, 12 years active duty, 13 years as a reservist, just recently retired. What inspired me to do what I was supposed to do is I actually broke my back in 2017. So literally was going to military work and my back literally snapped L4, L5, S1. I was wrestling if I should go over and minister to married couples or military veterans and first responders. And I got challenged when I was in the bed, literally from two men that came in to see how I was doing and told me to give up my dreams and get a $10 to $15 job and just start the grind over again. Under God's grace, I didn't get up and smack the hell out of them because I was angry at that point, but I couldn't do anything. But it really challenged me. I'm like, this is who I need to serve. So we help military veterans and first responders transform their lives from the prayer room to the boardroom. We help them learn to surrender to God and deal with their mess so they go over and become the best in Him. So that's what got us started. I've been retired for about 4 months, so we're still up and growing. I would say the most successful client was I was on the radio years ago and I helped out a radio voice. I won't say who it is, but in one consultation on how I was able to pick up what he was throwing down in his marriage, he had such a transformation in one session. I kind of wish I'd booked more sessions, fiscally speaking, but it was done all in one session. So I would say that's my most success story. He had such a transformation just on one session alone. And it's been a blessing to go over and to serve the other couples they have. So that's pretty much what we're doing right now. And our goal is to get that to full-time. Just like everybody else, you want to get to your full-time aspirations. So I'm hustling on the part-time and still doing full-time job stuff. So yeah, so hopefully one day I get to be on these stages and don't have to be like, oh, I got to go do something else in the background.
Love it. We all got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Mr. Matthew, same question for you, man. Tell us more about who you are, what you do, and what inspired you to get started.
Sure. Thanks, JR. Thanks for having me. Obviously, Daniel, thank you for your service, and everyone else. Great stories so far. My name is Matthew Finero. I'm a business law attorney in Coral Springs in Parkland, Florida. I've been an attorney for 23 years. I've had my own law firm for 11 years. Focus of my law firm is helping small businesses, entrepreneurs, and startups with their legal needs, particularly in Florida, but I have clients all around the country. I used to work for two large Am Law 200 law firms doing like commercial litigation, representing big businesses, banks, and insurance companies. I decided about 11 years ago, I had the opportunity to go work for one of the 10 largest law firms in America, but decided to instead duck out and go start my own law firm out in the suburbs. And I wanted to focus on helping small businesses, entrepreneurs, and startups because I felt that they were underserved by big law firms and were underserved by like local attorneys out near where I live. And a lot of that comes from growing up with my dad, who had his own small business. And I saw the issues that he dealt with because he was, I think, underserved by professionals like accountants and attorneys because he wasn't big enough, even though he did pretty well and now he's retired. So that's kind of my mantra, and that's how I got here. Client success story is luckily I have a few client success stories. One of them I would say is I got in before on the ground floor with a client who started a company and then started an app that is now one of the, I think it's in the top 100 of the on the Apple App Store and on the whatever the hell the Google version or the Android version of the Apple App Store is. And so it was good helping him start out from nothing to have it. We trademarked his trademark. We got all his IP done, and now he's out doing it. And it's cool because I get to see it pop up every once in a while. And I know that I was helpful in the background of helping him succeed.
I love that. Congratulations. For me, I'm a combat vet myself. Got out in 2007 and spent some time in Iraq. And a big piece of my story was I survived a suicide bombing in Barwan, Iraq, on February 7th, 2007, at a walking checkpoint, and decided to get out of the military at that time and start building my own business. And so I started martial arts school out of St. Louis, and then I ended up selling that business and built a fitness business in 4 different cities until we moved to Virginia in 2016 and started growing our family, and now have 4.5 kids. So got our 5th one on our way now. And at that time, we had one child in 2016, and I wanted to go into more business consulting. So I love teaching fitness and martial arts and in that health space. So that's where I started, was consulting in the health and professional space. And throughout that time and coaching, hundreds of people and entrepreneurs at that time, one thing that they struggled with was learning how to network and connect that can actually drive relationships that can lead to further business. And so that's how a Business Leaders Network formed, is where I wanted to build something where I can help other entrepreneurs truly teach them on how to build connection from the servant heart. I mean, our whole mission at BLN is to build a community of emotionally intelligent servant leaders. So I take emotional intelligence from 5 key categories Walt Disney created of self-awareness, self-regulation, empathy, motivation, and social skills. And then the heart of the servant leader of understanding what Zig Ziglar says, that the more you help people get what they want, the more that you're going to receive. And so when I'm looking at the individuals that are more self-aware about what's going on of people and communities and things like that, but exemplify servant leadership, that's how Business Leadership or Business Leaders Network had formed. And so I started Business Leaders Network in 2022. Just like right around or after COVID, whenever that was, and been amazing since. We do a lot of online community as well as in-person experiences and events, weekly master classes, and I just love connecting people. If you guys follow me on socials anywhere, you'll see that I'm just a natural connector. I love doing these roundtables to bring people together so they form new relationships that can turn to long-term success in business or transactions from the relationship that they have. And we all know the saying that your net worth is as big as your network. And if you're not actively building your network, then you're going to end up dying in the middle of a hot desert, because your network is what ultimately is going to save you when you're slow, and it's going to help you when you're busy. And we want to make sure that we're doing it. And for me, I neglected on building the community for probably over 18 months. And and I'm hurting for it. So it's like, okay, what can I do to rebuild? Because I saw what I was being complacent with, and when we were in Iraq, there's signs everywhere that says complacency kills, and that statement is so true, especially in our business. When we start getting complacent, that's when our business is going to start to die. And so we got to make sure that we are building that brotherhood and that sisterhood and that camaraderie amongst other leaders and entrepreneurs that think like us to really help each other grow. And it's not just about taking from what we can take from other people, but it's about what we can give to others. Because when you do that, I love the idea of referrals. If you give a referral to one person, you are going to ultimately be the hero to two people, the person that you referred and the person that you referred to. And then who do you think that they're going to think about the next time that they need something? It's going to be you. So that's me. My name is JR. I live out in Northern Virginia outside DC, and I'm the founder and owner of Business Leaders Network. Next question, I'm going to start with Peter this time. Peter, why don't you share one of your best client success stories? Where were they at when they started with you, and what did you help them achieve?
So I had this one influencer I was working with. And so we were coming into COVID, and we actually had a bunch of disruptions. We had about half of the company, all the executives left, all four executives left. Company was in a really bad spot, in a pickle. We ended up having we had like 5 coaches at the time. So 2 of the biggest breadwinners kind of left like right before COVID. And so there's 2 coaches I had to go to, and one of them was, had about 150K on Instagram, and, he's doing okay, but he was kind of mismanaged before. So I ended up saying, hey man, what's the block here? And we got him, paid, basically we cut a deal with him, got him paid back. He was owed some money. And, we launched him from 150K on Instagram to 1.1 million, and about 800K on YouTube. So about 150. And he went into doing like I think his one of his better months was like 600K a month, just him without the other coaches. And we sold 100K one-on-one package for him, and more. So anyways, we had a really big comeback with him. They made an SNL skit about him. So that it was like, he really wasn't opened up. And I think that was one of the things I'm most proud of from that, just because, I really asked him to show up with leadership, and then I supported him so that he could do what he does best. So yeah, that'd probably be my best one.
That's amazing. I love that. Mickey, same question for you. Tell us one of your best client success stories. Where were they at when they started with you, and what did you help them achieve?
Yeah, so this is a great question, and most people expect you to tell the big story. And I mentioned in the opening statement about, building pest control company to 21 million and selling it for 79 million. But my favorite client success story to tell is actually the smallest client I ever worked with that I earned the least amount of money from, but had the most human capital reward. And it was actually a small butcher shop that was local. And I met the guy at church. He didn't actually regularly go to our church, but I got introduced to him. The mutual friend knew that he was struggling. And I'm thinking to myself, like, butcher shop, okay, tell me what you got going on. And standing in the parking lot at the first meeting, he shared that he had done $1 million in revenue the year before, which flabbergasted me. I thought the guy was going to tell me he was doing like $150,000 or something. But he had worked for one of the chain grocery stores as a butcher and just had this desire to go out. And he got his mom to give him some money, and he backed him, and he opened this butcher shop. And so I go and I visit him the next week, and I look around and do a sort of a visual assessment, got a couple of his P&Ls, and I said, look, I want to come back next week, and I just want to shadow for 2 days. That's all I want to do. I just want to shadow. I'm not going to get in your way. And within the first 2 hours, I knew it. I knew what he was doing wrong and where he was at. And when I met him, he had less than $8,000 in his checking account, and he was one payroll from being to the felt, right? I mean, he was probably 30 days from going under. And I only worked with him for 3 months. That's all it took. And in 3 months, he had $53,000 in his checking account, and his life was turned around. And I was able to not just turn his monetary, checking account around, but teach him what he was doing wrong. And if I can take just a couple of the minutes, it's such a cool story. But I watched him take a cryovac ribeye out of the cooler and cut it open, and he drained it off, and he trimmed it, and he just, had all this waste that he threw away, and he cut these beautiful steaks and put them on the plastic and weighed them and put them in the cooler. And I'm like, how did you come up with the price that you're charging the client for this meeting. He goes, oh, well, when I was working over at this grocery store, they taught me it's 35% markup on what you pay for it. And I go, well, can I see your invoice? And he literally was applying a basic 35% to what he paid. And I go, but what about the waste that you threw away? You paid for all that, the liquid that you drained, the fat that you cut off and threw away. And so just getting him to understand, and to me, it's such a poster child for the clients that I deal with, even if they're running $5 and $10 million companies, like they don't know what they don't know. And so I trademarked a term called revenue harvesting. And what I do is I teach people how to make more with what they have without spending more money on marketing. You don't need another customer or another door swing. You need to understand how to maximize what you have. And so teaching him how to price properly and understand what true margin is. But watch this. Then we took all of the fat that he was trimming, we turned it into a dog food. So then he was able to monetize that. We took 30% of his store where he had nothing but perishable goods. We turned it into non-perishable goods, canned things, t-shirts with cool slogans. And so for me, when people go, tell me what you do, I'm like, and why would I pay you this retainer? And I'm like, you just don't know what you don't know. But if you'll give me the chance to open your business up to me, we look at things differently. We see things that you won't see. And I promise you the journey will lead you to, you'll be very happy that you work with us. So I like telling the story about the butcher shop. He was a great guy. And it was just the fact that I was a part of his success story means a lot to me.
That's powerful. I love that. Congratulations. Matthew, same question for you. Tell us one of your best client success stories. Where were they at when they started, and what did you help them achieve?
I wish I represented a dude who it was like a butcher like that and made steaks. I would be much fatter than I am and much happier. I touched on one story a little bit before in the intro. I mean, I guess another story is in the honor of talking about pest control, whatever. I represented a guy who years ago had this concept, and down here in South Florida, you see all the weird insects and all the things that we deal with. We have a huge mosquito problem, like huge mosquito problem. It's not even seasonal, it's year round. So this guy came up with this concept of an outdoor mosquito repellent system for your backyard or even your front yard, where it sprays this mist that's biodegradable, and it essentially repels all mosquitoes, no-see-ums, gnats, everything. It keeps your backyard completely clear. And it's a installation, but then it's also an ongoing service. So there's the installation of the system, and then there's the ongoing service contract. So nobody had ever thought about this before. This is totally new. This is years ago. And the guy came to me, and I'm like, well, that's pretty far out there, but I'm glad to help you do it. And so the same thing, we formed his business, did his trademarks, came up with his business plan, came up with all the contracts. He bought all his stuff, borrowed all his money, did all his stuff. And now it is like an Inc. 5000 company. And there's a whole bunch. This is a whole industry now. He was like the Mercedes-Benz or the Coca-Cola of this whole genre. And now there's tons of competitors, but he's still the biggest one, and he's done quite well for himself, and he's now franchised it out across the country. So it was pretty good to see him from the inception. And the people who live across the street from me use him. So I see his truck, one of his trucks parked out front all the time, and I get reminded that, oh, I was there at the ground floor. So I'm not, yeah, but with that, I'm not a big fan with the mosquito community doesn't like me though. So
That's a really cool story. I love that. Monica, same thing with you. You got another client success story. Where were they at when they started with you, and then what did you help them achieve?
Yeah, I actually have a client that I've had for about 4 months now, and when she came to me, she was an entrepreneur who was working a business that she hated. She just was not passionate about what she was doing in the business, but she loved the connection and the community that she had made with it. She had really severe issues with self-worth, and it was to the point she couldn't look at herself in a mirror. If somebody said something to her that she felt was critical or was judgment of her, she would go hide in a room and just close herself off from people. So she really had kind of shut down. And she came to me and we started working on her nervous system healing. We started working on affirmations, and now she stands in front of a mirror every single day, looks herself in the eye in the mirror, which if you haven't ever done that, or if that's something that is really hard for you, it's so good for you. So she now is able to stand in front of a mirror and look at herself in the mirror. She says affirmations to herself. She'll message me when she notices that, oh, I had this come up today. I noticed I started to run and hide, or I noticed this with my nervous system, and I used this tool that you gave me, and I was able to stay calm and present in the conversation and actually have a conversation with the person and didn't just run and take it as criticism. So it's been a long, slow process, but over the past probably 4 months, she's gone from someone who just would shut down and had no self-worth and no value in herself to someone who now realizes that she didn't love the business, and that's okay. You don't have to love the business. You can leave the business and still keep the friendships and the community that you've built there and take that to build something else. So she's now using it in ministry work with her church.
Beautiful. Love that story. Great story. Daniel, same question for you. What tell us one of your best client success stories. Where are they at and what did you help them achieve?
It really wasn't a client story, but it was a networking story more than anything else. So I met this gentleman in Arizona. He ran a networking company and everything else, and I was trying to go over and grow my business. And I'm a big fan of the Military Influencer Conference. So I invited the gentleman to go down there. The next one's in Tampa. If anybody you guys want to go, it's in September. So we were down there and we stayed in the room together and everything else and whatnot. And he was really broken and jaded from the military. He was Marine, 83 to 86, crayon eater in the sense, that type of thing. And then he pulled his boots by the bootstraps and totally denied his military heritage for over 30 plus years. Then while we were at one of the parties at that event, it was in a bar. I'm usually not comfortable in a bar, but I went. So there was this young airman that kind of got forced to go there. He's leaving the service in 6 months. He doesn't know what he's going to do, but he knows he has to get out of the military. He has to take care of his family. And I got blessed to help him out during that season. And he opened his eyes. He's like, how did you go over and do that? He's like, you just opened up and was able to serve him and everything else. So then we went to dinner afterwards, was really to show him a heart of Jesus and how to go serve this gentleman. So he finally was able to break free of not denying his identity as a veteran. So he has expanded with us. He's gone over and helped us publish a book a couple of years back, and now he's not only ministering to thought leaders in his community with businesses and everything else, he's now working with the military community and everything else, and we became really good friends. He's actually coming down to my 20-year wedding ceremony. I never did a real wedding, so now I'm doing one now. And he's one of the core guys that are coming down in December. So I'd say that's the most transformational thing, to see someone that was so jaded and back from his military career now is fully open and embracing the veteran and entrepreneurial community as a whole.
Very cool. Guys, I got a lot of stories that I want to share, and I specialize helping entrepreneurs leverage in-person experiences and one-day events for growing their business. And I have several clients that made $12,000 all the way up to $100,000 in one day from one event that they do. But one story I wanted to talk about particularly within our Business Leaders Network community, and it was kind of like an eye-opening thing this past weekend for me. And it's this young girl. Her name is Sydney, and she's been part of our BLN community for several years now, and she lives close to where I'm at in Virginia. And when she works with ministries like churches and things like that, she does stuff at the Christian radio station. She has a lot of her clients are church owners or ministry or whatever. So a lot of ministry and type things with there. Well, a couple of years ago, I introduced her to one person from my church. His name was Christian, and he was building a men's ministry, and she helped him with his logo and his branding and his website, all these different things. And then I introduced her to another person at our church, named Tom. And then I play on the worship team at my church, and so I'm standing back, while I'm playing the guitar and up on the stage, and I look back and she's back there on, she's working the slides and she's helping like the whole operations of the whole every Sunday service at the church. And I go, man, that all happened because of one connection that I gave her. And that happened because of our community inside of BLN. And her life has completely changed. Like she's part of like the whole operations team at our church. She's still doing other ministry stuff, but now she found her calling of really stewarding the relationships and her clients that she has. And to me, it really reminded me of why I'm doing what I do. And where it's like, man, that one connection, which I ended up giving her like 3 really good connections, but one connection changed this girl's entire life, that now she is able to steward other churches and operations and things like that ultimately made a much bigger impact. So I got off that stage and I went back there. We're done with worship, and the pastor went up there, and I walked back there while she was on the computers, and I just went over and gave her a big hug. And I was like, man, it was just really cool just being able to see her in that light and just how much her life was changed because of that. And so within our BLN community, that was a wide eye-opening for me. Just like, how can I make that one more connection with someone, even from you guys on this call? It's like, how can something from here be developed and to really steward and help another person take their business to the next level? And you never know where that one connection is at. So, Monica, next question that I'm going to start with you is, who is your best client, and like, who do you like to work with? I say your perfect client. Some people say avatar or your ideal client, but who is your ideal client that you like to work with, and what's the best way they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, so my ideal client is going to be a high performing woman, somebody who may work in corporate. I have a lot of experience working with medical providers, somebody who it looks like they have everything figured out on the outside, but feels very unfulfilled, or like, I'm doing this because it's a paycheck, but this isn't what I'm passionate about. Or they may be having health issues. I have certifications in holistic health and wellness. So a big part of your ability to change your mindset, to make changes in your life, is also related to your health. So being able to help coach them through health issues, things like that. But a lot of them feel really unfulfilled with the work that they're doing. They have a lot of responsibility. They may feel like they don't know who they are anymore. They've lost themselves. And I love to come in and walk them through a framework that I have that helps them find who they lost and get back to what they're passionate about and really live their life on purpose. Everyone is here for a purpose. You were made for a purpose, and helping them get back to that. The easiest way to get a hold of me is my website. It's monicaconnollycoaching.com. All of my contact information is on there, and all of the information about my events, everything like that is on there.
Very cool. Love it. And I have a referral for you. Daniel.
I have one for you too, guys, too.
Cool. Well, we'll talk about that before we get off. All right, Daniel, who's your ideal client, and what's the best way to get in touch with you?
My ideal client is usually a military member, a couple years about to get out of the service, or a veteran that's been out for a few short years, usually between 2 years prior getting out to about 2 years post. They are struggling like I did, mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, sexually, just overall just struggling in that transformation. And they want to learn how to surrender their mess. That's what mess means: mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually, sexually. So that person would look like they think they're struggling at the job, but they're really struggling in their marriage, or their marriage is on the brink. And they want to go over and have somebody walk with them and side by them to help them through that transformation. So the easiest way to go over and to find us is, we made it really simple. So we have a link tree. So it's linktree/war hero to superhero. Everything can be found there, from the books that we do, the music that we do, the consultations, the workshops, social media. All those types of things are found at one spot, Linktree/War Hero to Superhero. If you don't remember the name of our brand, Daniel Faust, just Google me. You'll eventually find me because I try to get out there as much as possible.
Peter, same question for you. Who's your ideal client, and what's the best way to get in touch?
Yeah. So, ideal client would be right now. I have enough on the agency side. So I'm really just looking for people who want to get on the wait list for this software Wayfinder OS. So it would save you minimum about 25% on your total SaaS costs, and about roughly 20 to 30 hours of operational hours per week on your staff. So anybody who's interested in that wants a one login, hit
Love
me
that.
up. No spreadsheets, one login.
Do they have to be agency owners, or are you working with like other coaches or something like that?
I'm working with other coaches too. It's designed right now specifically for someone who's an agency owner or a coach. So that's the ideal client. I also am working on a medical side of it as well. But right now it's anyone who's an agency owner or a coach.
Does it integrate within Go High Level?
So it would replace it entirely. So you wouldn't need Go High Level with this because it does a lot more than Go High Level does.
Love that. And what's the best way to get in touch? I don't think I heard you.
So you can email me at peter@wayfindercoaching.net. I'm off the social media right now with the girlfriend, so we're doing a little detox.
That's so good. I love that. Cool. All right, Mickey.
Yeah, so my ideal client is a business operator that is passionate about their business and has the energy and the wherewithal to make the hard decisions and put in the hard work to get to the next level. A lot of people don't recognize that the SBA defines small business as anything under 50 million. I think locally, a lot of people think of small business as, a few $100,000 or maybe $1 million. But most of our clients fall between the $2 million and $20 million gross revenue range. So whether it's leadership and management coaching, and I have a team, I'm not a solopreneur. We have a team at a measure, but we can service any business owner. But certainly there's a lot of passion in that independent operator that might be partly in the business and trying to fight hard to work on the business. We can help them create that clarity and find their roadmap to where they're trying to go. I would like to share, just because it means a lot to me, that a lot of people ask, well, a measure, what is a measure? The name of our company is a Measure of Growth Partners. It comes from Ephesians 3:20. Now to him that can do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power at work within us. And what I think is interesting, when a lot of people read that, they go, oh, this is great God, and I'm a believer, and I have favor, and I have all these things, and he can do these great things. But my favorite part of the verse is, according to his power who is at work within us, which means we have to do the work. And so I want to work with people who are energetic about putting in the time and doing the hard things to get their business where it's trying to go and to accomplish their dreams and goals and what they're, where they're trying to go with that. So, one of the things that I learned somewhere along the way, I didn't coin this, but we can't do God's part and he won't do our part, right? There's no magic pill. So I just love helping entrepreneurs win. I also would love for our audience to understand that when you're trying to choose who to work with, know this about me as an individual, that there was a time in my life where I was divorced, I was broken, I was in a 2-bedroom apartment with no direction and less than $5,000 to my name. And 10 years later, I had 9 businesses doing 8 figures in revenue. I remarried my first wife. I raised my children. I've put 2 of the 3 through college. It has been an amazing journey. And I just want you to know, it doesn't matter where you're at. You're not stuck. You need to align with the right people that can teach you what you don't know. And that's all it is. We just don't know what we don't know. So find somebody that can help you get where you're going. I'd love to be a part of your journey. You can find us at immesura.com, IMMEASURA.com, and you can book a free strategy session with me or one of my team members, and we'd be glad to help.
I love that. Awesome. Congratulations. Matthew, same question. Who's your ideal client, and what's the best way to get in touch?
Everyone on here is so inspiring. It's like, So my best clients are obviously at any stage in their life, a small business entrepreneur startup, whether they're not in business yet, they just started, they're moving along, they're winding down, they're getting bigger, they're getting smaller, they're going out of business. I cover the whole gamut. So the easiest way to find me is just go to my website, fornarolegal.com. It's just my last name, legal.com, and it's got links to all my contact information, all my social media, massive amount of videos and blogs and white papers and free stuff. And it's pretty robust at this point where if you have questions about business, particularly if you're in Florida, a lot of the answers are on there. And if not, just email me or call me.
Very cool. Love that. Guys, for Business Leaders Network, I mean, we look for servant heart entrepreneurs who are speakers, coaches, authors, or service professionals who value relationship, that value connection, and want to be part of a community to help them grow. So if you guys are part of an entrepreneur, then you're saying, hey, you know what, I want to give back and I would like to receive, and we're really looking for heart-centered individuals that want to give back and that understands the value of connections and relationships. And the best way to get in touch with us and get started is just go to our website at blncommunity.com. Click join now. You'll fill out a quick application, and then once I get that, then I'll reach out to you to schedule a call and or send you some information. So that's blncommunity.com, and I'd love to have anyone reach out and want to join our community. So, guys, that wraps it up for today. I appreciate everyone jumping on here. I hope you guys had fun and being able to share what you do. And for everyone listening out there, if you heard something that inspired you, that impacted you, and you'd like to get in touch, make sure you reach out to the links or websites that are provided, and make sure you get in touch with everyone here on the call. All right, until next time, Semper Fi.